Reuniting the herd was a painstaking process, but by the end of the day, they were together again. The Mailiaux relief was palpable as she nuzzled each member of her herd. Her coals filled with a sense of gratitude that transcended species. Evelyn stood nearby, watching with tears in her eyes as the herd re-established their bands. In the aftermath of the storm, Evelyn and the research team worked tirelessly to restore the failure sphere. The disaster had highlighted the fragility of their endeavor, but it had also reinforced the resilience of the creatures they had brought back to life. The Triceratops herd, in particular, emerged stronger, their unity and intelligence shining through even in the face of adversity. Evelyn's work gained international recognition. Her discoveries sparking a global conversation about the ethical implications of the extinction and the responsibilities that came with it. She became a leading voice in the field, advocating for the rights and protections of the creatures she had come to know and love. But for Evelyn, the greatest reward was the bond she shared with the Triceratops. They had taught her lessons she could never have learned from textbooks or data, lessons about courage, compassion, and the profound connections that could exist with species. And as she stood in the clearing one evening, the sun setting behind the herd, she felt a deep and abiding sense of gratitude. The Mailiaux lifted her head and let out a soft, resonant call. A sound that Evelyn had come to understand as a gesture of acknowledgement. Evelyn smiled, her heart full. Thank you, she whispered, for everything. The Triceratops herd had not only survived, they had thrived. And in doing so, they had changed the world's understanding of what it meant to coexist, to communicate, and to care. Evelyn knew that their story was far from over, and she was honored to be a part of it. Reuniting the herd was a painstaking process, but by the end of the day, they were together again. The Mailiaux relief was palpable as she nuzzled each member of her herd. Her coals filled with a sense of gratitude that transcended species. Evelyn stood nearby, watching with tears in her eyes as the herd re-established their bands. In the aftermath of the storm, Evelyn and the research team worked tirelessly to restore the failure sphere. The disaster had highlighted the fragility of their endeavor, but it had also reinforced the resilience of the creatures they had brought back to life. The Triceratops herd, in particular, emerged stronger, their unity and intelligence shining through even in the face of adversity. Evelyn's work gained international recognition. Her discoveries sparking a global conversation about the ethical implications of the extinction and the responsibilities that came with it. She became a leading voice in the field, advocating for the rights and protections of the creatures she had come to know and love. But for Evelyn, the greatest reward was the bond she shared with the Triceratops. They had taught her lessons she could never have learned from textbooks or data, lessons about courage, compassion, and the profound connections that could exist with species. And as she stood in the clearing one evening, the sun setting behind the herd, she felt a deep and abiding sense of gratitude. The Mailiaux lifted her head and let out a soft, resonant call, a sound that Evelyn had come to understand as a gesture of acknowledgement. Evelyn smiled, her heart full. Thank you, she whispered, for everything. The Triceratops herd had not only survived, they had thrived. And in doing so, they had changed the world's understanding of what it meant to coexist, to communicate, and to care. Evelyn knew that their story was far from over, and she was honored to be a part of it. The soft glow of the moonlight filtered through the curtains, casting a serene light over the small suburban home. It was a peaceful neighborhood, 더 카인드 웨어 칠드런 플레이드 인 더 스트리츠 도링 더 데이 앤드 패미즈 게더드 온 포어 치즈 인 더 이브닝즈. 예트 인사이드 더 코지 홈 오브 더 카터 패밀리. 썸싱 어뉴조엘 헤드 빈 해퍼닝 에브리 나잇 포 더 패스트 퓨 윅스. 미턴즈 데어 그레이 앤드 화이트 헤비 헤드 오레이즈 빈 에이 캄 앤드 어펙셔니트 캐트. 어다프티드 프롬 에이 로컬 셀터 투 이어즈어고 시 키클리 비케임 에이 체리시트 멤버 오브 더 패밀리. 시 헤드 에이 펜천트 포 커링 어본 랩스 도링 무비 나이츠. 체이싱 더 레드 다트 오브 에이 레이저 포인터 위드 앤드러스 인수지의 점. 앤드 미아우잉 인시스턴트리 예네버 디너 오즈 이번 에이 미니트 레이드. 벗 리선트리 허 비헤이비어 헤드 시프티드 인 에이 데트 레프트 더 카우터즈 퍼젤드 앤드 에이 리텔 어니지. 에브리 나잇 저스트 에즈 더 패밀리 세텔드 인투 베드. 미턴즈 우드 비긴 허 비젤. 시 우드 펀놀 더 하우스. 허 이어즈 얼러트 앤드 허 테일 시싱 위드 퍼퍼스. 어라운드 미드나잇 시 우드 테이크 어 포지션 바이 더 프런트 도어. 시팅 퍼픽트리 스틸벗 클리어리 온 하이 얼러트. 썸타임즈 시 우드 레트 아웃로 그라울즈 오어 히스 소프트리 앳 너싱 비저벨. 허 아이즈 픽스트 온 더 다웅리스 비안드 더 인도오. 에머 카터 더 메일리아옥 오브 더 팸리 오즈 더 퍼스트 투 노티스. 시 오펀 스테이드 업 레이드 리딩 인 더 리빙룸. 에이 커프 오브 티 인 핸드 앤드 미턴즈 바이 허 사이드. 에 퍼스트 시 소트 더 캐츠 비헤이비어 워즈 에이 패싱 페이즈. 메이비 미턴즈 헤드 허드 에이 스트레이 레쿤 러미징 스루 더 트래시 오어 코트 더 센트 오브 어너더 캐트 아웃사이드. 버데즈 더 데이즈 턴드 인투 윅스. 에머 코던트 세이크 더 필링 데트 썸싱 모어 워즈 고잉 온. 원 나잇 어네이벨 투 컨테인 허 큐리아서티. 에머 디사이디드 투 팔로 미턴즈 도링 허 나일리 펀놀. 시 와치트 에즈 더 캐트 무브드 스루 더 하우스 위드 에이 딜리버리트 그레이스. 포징 투 스니프 앳 더 에어 오어 피어 인투 세도즈. 옌 미턴즈 리치트 더 프런트 도어. 시 스타프트 어브러프트리. 허 바디 텐싱 에즈 이프 시 워 프리페링 포 에이 캄프런테이션. 아트 이즈 이트 걸. 에머 위스퍼드 닐링 비사이드 허. 시 리치트 아웃 투 스트록 미턴저즈 퍼. 버더 캐트 디던트 리액트. 허 포커스 오즈 인타이어리 온 더 도어. 허 그린 아이즈 언블링킹 에즈 시 레트 아우데이로 거터렐 그라울. 에머즈 하우트 키컨드. 시 프레스트 허 이어 투 더 도어. 스트레이닝 투 히어 와테버 헤드 캐프처드 미턴저즈 어텐션. 버돌시 쿠드 히어 오즈 더 페인트 러셀 오브 리브즈 인 더 브리즈. 스틸 더 어니즈 링거드. 앤드 에머 코던트 세이크 더 필링 데트 미턴즈 오즈 트라잉 투 텔 허 썸싱. 더 팔로잉 모어닝 에머 멘션드 더 인시던트 투 허 허즈번드. 마억 오버 브렉퍼스트. 히 워즈 에이 프랙티켈만 퀵 투 디스미스 애니싱 데트 코던트 비 익스플레인드 위드 라직 앤드 리전. 이츠 프라버블리 저스트 에이 스트레이 에너멜 아웃사이드. 히 세드 빛 바이츠 오브 토스트. 캐츠 알 테러토리엘. 시즈 저스트 두잉 허 자브. 에머 나디드 버시 워전트 컨빈스트. 미턴저즈 비헤이비어 펠트 투 딜리버리트. 투 포커스트 투 비 디스미스트 에즈 미어 인스팅트. 시 디사이디드 투 키번 이번 클로서 아이 온 더 캐트. 다큐멘팅 허 액션즈 이치 나잇 인 에이 노트북. 패턴즈 비겐 투 이머지. 미턴즈 오레이즈 스타우티드 허펀노렛 이그젝트리 오후 10시. 오레이즈 엔디드 이트니어 더 프런트 도어. 앤드 오레이즈 심드 모스트 에저테이티드 어라운드 미드나잇. 더 미스터리 비겐 투 웨이 온 더 팸리. 이번 더 칠드런 12여올드 소피 앤드 7이어올드 리엄. 노티스트 더 체인지인데어 유주얼리 플레이 펠페트. 아이 더전트 미턴즈 플레이 위드 어스 애니모어. 소피 에스크트 원 애프터눈. 허 브라우 퍼로드 위드 컨선. 시즈 저스트 비잉 에이 캐트. 마억 리플라잇 러플링 허 헤어. 썸타임즈 데이 게트 위어드. 버 소피 워전트 세티스파이드 위드 데트 앤서. 데트 나잇 시 스넉 아웃 오브 베드 투 조인 허 마더 인 더 리빙룸. 디터민드 투 시 와트 미턴즈 오즈 업 투. 투게더 데이 와치트 에즈 더 캐트 비겐 허 펀놀. 허 무브먼츠 프리사이스 앤드 퍼퍼스펠. 앤 미턴즈 토커 플레이스 바이 더 프런트 도어. 소피 이스퍼드. 도유싱 시즈 스케어드 오브 썸싱. 에머 헤저테이티드. 언슈어 하우 투 리스판드. 메이비 시 세드 파이널리. 오어 메이비 시즈 프로텍팅 어스. 더 아이디어 링거드 인 소피즈 마인드. and the next day she told her teacher about it during show and tell. My cat is like a superhero. She declared proudly. She protects us every night. Her classmates laughed, and even her teacher smiled indulgently, but Sophie didn't care. She was convinced that Mittens was keeping her family safe from something, and she was determined to find out what it was. That evening, Emma decided to take a more proactive approach. She set up a camera in the living room, pointed directly at the front door, hoping to catch whatever was causing Mittens' behavior. She and Maok reviewed the footage the next morning, but all they saw was Mittens sitting by the door, her eyes fixed on the darkness outside. There was no sign of an intruder, no strange noises, nothing to explain her actions. The lack of evidence only deepened the mystery. Emma began to research cat behavior, scouring forums and articles for clues. She learned that cats were highly sensitive to their surroundings, able to detect sounds and sense power beyond the range of human perception. Some people even believed that cats could sense things that weren't physically there, spirits, energy, or other phenomena that defied explanation. Emma wasn't sure what to believe, but she couldn't deny the feeling that something unusual was happening. She decided to share her concerns with her neighbor, MRS Callahan, an elderly woman who had lived on the street for decades and seemed to know everything about everyone. When Emma mentioned Mittens' behavior, MRS Callahan's expression grew serious. You know, she said, leaning in closer. This isn't the first time I've heard something like that. Back in the 70s, there was a family who lived in your house. They had a dog, a big German Shepherd, if I remember right. And that dog used to do the same thing, sitting by the door every night, growling at nothing. Emma's stomach dropped. What happened to them? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. MRS Callahan hesitated. They moved away after a few years. Said they couldn't take the strange noises and the feeling that they were being watched. I always thought they were just spooked by their imaginations, but now, I'm not so sure. The revelation sent a chill down Emma's spine. She returned home with a new sense of urgency, determined to uncover the truth about Mittens' behavior and the history of her home. What she didn't yet realize was that the answers would be far more shocking than she could have imagined. Emma couldn't shake the unease that MRS Callahan's story had stirred in her. That night, as Mittens began her usual funnel, Emma sat at the dining table, her laptop open to a local history forum. She typed in the address of their home, hoping to find some trace of the family MRS Callahan had mentioned. Her search yielded little first real estate records, a few archived newspaper articles about neighborhood events, but then she stumbled upon something that made her pause. A headline from 1978 read, Mysterious Disappearances Leave Suburban Neighborhood on Edge. Emma's heart raced as she clicked on the link. The article loading slowly on the outdated website. The piece detailed a series of strange occurrences in their neighborhood over a 2-year period, personal items going missing, unusual noises reported at night, and 2 individuals vanishing without a trace. One of the missing people had lived in her very house. Emma leaned back in her chair, her mind spinning. She glanced toward the front door, where Mittens was once again perched. Her green eyes locked on the darkness outside. The cat's tail flicked rhythmically. Her body tense as though waiting for something. Emma's stomach tightened. Could Mittens sense something tied to the house's unsettling past? She decided to share what she'd found with Maok, though she knew he would be skeptical. As expected, he dismissed the article with a wave of his hand. It's probably just an old urban legend, he said, flipping through the channels on the TV. You know how people like to make up stories to scare each other. Emorsite, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. But what if it's not just a story? What if there's something here that we don't understand? Maok set the remote down, finally giving her his full attention. Emma, I get that you're worried, but there's no proof of anything supernatural or dangerous. Mittens is a cat. Cats are weird. Let's not jump to conclusions. Emma nodded, but her resolve only hardened. If Maok wouldn't take the situation seriously, she would investigate on her own. The next day, while the kids were at school and Maok was at work, Emma visited the local library, determined to dig deeper into the house's history. She sifted through old records, maps, and newspaper clippings, piecing together a timeline of events that painted a chilling picture. The house had been built in the 1950s and had changed hands several times over the decades. Each family had stayed for only a few years, citing vague reasons for living unease, bad luck, a desire for a fresh start. But the most alarming discovery came from an old police report about a break-in at the house in 1978. The report described a suspicious individual who had been caught lurking in the area but had fled before being apprehended. There was no follow-up, no resolution, only the unsettling detail that the man had been watching the house from the tree line. Emma returned home that afternoon with a stack of photocopied documents and a growing sense of dread. She laid everything out on the dining table, studying the connections and patterns. It was impossible to ignore the parallels with the past and Mitten's behavior. What if the cat wasn't just sensing an unseen presence but actively protecting the family from it? That night, Emma decided to take things a step further. She set up additional cameras around the house, focusing on the front yard and the areas near the windows. She also downloaded a motion detection app that would send alerts directly to her phone. If there was anything or anyone outside, she would know. As the family settled in for the night, Emma's nerves were on edge. She lay awake in bed, staring at her phone and waiting for the first alert. Just before midnight, the notification came. Her heart leaped as she opened the app, the live feed from the front yard camera loading onto her screen. At first, she saw nothing unusual, just the dark outline of the yard and the faint glow of the street light. But then, in the corner of the frame, something moved. Emma sat up, her pulse racing. She squinted at the screen, trying to make out the shape. It was small, barely more than a shadow, but it was definitely there, hovering near the edge of the property. She watched it as it moved closer, the shape becoming clearer. It wasn't an animal. It was a person. Her blood ran cold. She scrambled out of bed and rushed to the living room, where Mittens was already at the front door, growling low in her throat. The cat's paw was bristled, her body tense as she stared out into the night. Emma peeked through the curtains, her breath catching as she saw the figure standing just beyond the porch light's reach. She grabbed her phone and dialed 911, her voice shaking as she explained the situation. There's someone outside my house, she whispered, glancing back at the window. I don't know who they are, but they've been watching us. The operator assured her that a patrol car was on its way, but the minutes felt like hours as Emma waited. She kept her eyes on the figure, her heart pounding with fear. Mittens didn't move from her position by the door, her growls growing louder and more insistent. Finally, the sound of approaching sirens broke the tension. The figure turned and fled, disappearing into the shadows just as the police arrived. The officers searched the area but found no trace of the intruder. They assured Emma that they would increase funds in the neighborhood and urged her to call again if anything unusual happened. After the police left, Emma sat on the couch, her hands trembling as she stroked Mitten's fur. You know, she whispered to the cat. You've been watching out for us this whole time. Mittens let out a soft purr, her body relaxing for the first time that night. Emma felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Whatever had been lurking outside, Mittens had kept it at bay. She had protected the family in a way they hadn't even realized they needed. But as Emma tried to piece together what had happened, one question lingered in her mind. WHO was the figure, and why were they watching the house? The answer, she suspected, would be even more shocking than she could imagine. The next morning, the family gathered in the kitchen for breakfast. The atmosphere tense after the previous night's events. Mark, usually calm and composed, paced back and forth with his coffee mug in hand. Sophie and Liam sat at the table, unusually quiet, their wide eyes betraying their fear. What did the police say? Mark asked Emma, his tone clipped. They didn't find anyone, she replied, stirring her tea absent-mindedly. But they are increasing funds in the area. Whoever it was, they were watching us. Mark, Mittens knew. She's been trying to warn us all along. Mark sighed, rubbing his temples. I still don't know what to make of this. Why would someone be watching us? We're just a normal family. Emma hesitated, debating whether to share the history she'd uncovered about the house. She decided to keep it to herself for now, not wanting to alarm the children further. I don't know, but we need to be careful. I'm going to install more cameras today. You'll catch them if they come back. Sophie reached over to pat Mittens, who was perched on the counter, her green eyes scanning the room. Mittens is a hero, Sophie said softly. She's been protecting us the whole time. Emma smiled despite the tension. Yes, she has, and we owe her a lot. That afternoon, Emma and Mark walked together to fortify the house. They installed additional cameras around the perimeter, upgraded the locks on the doors and windows, and even purchased a motion-activated floodlight for the front yard. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that the figure would return, and she wanted to be ready. As night fell, Emma found herself growing increasingly anxious. She double-checked the camera feeds and ensured her phone was fully charged, ready to receive any alerts. Mittens, as always, began her nightly patrol, moving through the house with a precision that seemed almost military. Around midnight, Emma's phone buzzed with a notification. Her heart leapt as she opened the app, her hands trembling. The live feed from the front yard camera loaded slowly, and for a moment, she saw nothing but the empty street and the faint glow of the floodlight. Then, movement caught her eye, a shadow slipping through the darkness. Mark, she whispered urgently, shaking him awake. They are back. Mark jolted upright, his eyes widening as he grabbed his phone to check the feed. The figure was there, lingering near the edge of the yard, just as before. But this time, the cameras captured something else, a faint glint of metal in the intruder's hand. Mark saw under his breath, his protective instincts kicking in. Call the police. Now. Emma dialed 911. Her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. As she explained the situation to the operator, Mark moved to the front window, peering through the curtains. The figure remained just out of reach of the floodlight, their movements slow and deliberate. Mittens, Emma whispered, noticing the cat had positioned herself by the door again. Her body tense and her growls low and steady. It was as 도시 누더 피겨 was more dangerous this time. Within minutes, the sound of approaching sirens filled the air. The figure hesitated. Their head jerking toward the street before they turned and bolted into the shadows. The police arrived moments later, panning out to search the area while Emma and Mark explained what had happened. One of the officers returned after a thorough search. His expression grim. We found tracks leading into the woods, he said. And this. He held up a small, battered notebook. Its cover smeared with dirt. It looks like it was dropped by the intruder. You'll need to take it back to the station for analysis. Emma stared at the notebook, a chill running down her spine. What could it contain? WHO was this person, and why were they targeting her family? The police assured the courters they would investigate thoroughly and left them with a promise to keep the neighborhood under close surveillance. But even as the funnel cars drove away, Emma couldn't shake the unease that had settled deep in her chest. The next day, Emma received a call from the lead detective on the case. MRS Carter. He began, his voice serious. We've gone through the notebook. It's unsettling. Emma gripped the phone tightly. What does it say? The detective hesitated before continuing. It contains notes about your house, detailed observations about your family, and you come and go, where the kids play, even notes about your cat. Whoever this person is, they've been watching you for a long time. Emma's breath caught in her throat. Do you know who it is? We are working on identifying them, the detective said. But based on the notebook, it seems like they are fixated on the property itself. There are sketches of the house, references to events from decades ago. It's like they are obsessed. Emma's mind raced. The history of the house, the unexplained events from the 70s, MRS Kellogg's stories, it was all connected. And now, her family was caught in the middle of it. That night, Emma sat in the living room with mittens curled up beside her. The cat's purring was a comforting sound, a reminder that they weren't entirely alone. Whatever's going on, Emma whispered, stroking mittens' paw, you'll figure it out. And we'll keep this family safe. Mittens let out a soft meow, as if in agreement. Emma smiled, her determination renewed. She didn't know what the future held, but she was ready to face it, because she wasn't just protecting her family anymore. Mittens was protecting them too. The following days were filled with an uneasy tension that hung over the Carter household like a dark cloud. Emma couldn't stop thinking about the notebook and its unsettling contents. The idea that someone had been watching their family for months, possibly even years, sent shivers down her spine. She tried to keep life as normal as possible for Sophie and Liam, but the children could sense something was wrong. Even Mark, who had initially dismissed Emma's concerns, was now on edge, double-checking the locks on the doors and windows every night before bed. Mittens, as always, maintained her nightly funnel. Her dedication had become a source of comfort for the family, even as it reminded them of the unseen threat they were facing. Emma began to pay closer attention to the cat's movements, noting how her growls and hisses seemed to intensify around certain times and areas of the house. It was as if Mittens could sense something no one else could, a presence that lingered just out of sight. One evening, Emma received another call from the detective. We've identified the owner of the notebook, he said. It belongs to a man named David Harper. He's been arrested before for trespassing and stalking. We believe he's the one who's been watching your house. Emma's stomach twisted. Do you know why? 와트 더즈 히완트. 더 디텍티브 포즈드. 대츠 더 파워트 위어 스틸 트라잉 투 피겨 아웃. 하우퍼즈 노츠 멘션 위어 하우스 리피터들이 but it's not clear why he's so fixated on it. There are references to unfinished business and keeping watch, but nothing specific. It's strange, to say the least. Emma thanked the detective and hung up, her mind racing. What kind of unfinished business could Hopper be referring to? And how did it connect to the strange history of the house? She decided it was time to dig deeper. She retrieved the photocopies of old articles and records she had collected from the library and spread them out on the dining table. There had to be something she'd missed, some clue that would explain everything. As she combed through the documents, one detail caught her eye. In an article about the mysterious disappearances in the 70s, there was a brief mention of a man who had been questioned by the police, a handyman who had worked on several houses in the neighborhood, including Emma's. His name, David Hopper. Emma's heart pounded as she made the connection. Hopper had been involved with the house decades ago, and now he was back, obsessed with it. But why? What had happened during his time as a handyman that had left such a lasting mark on him? Determined to find answers, Emma decided to visit MRS Callahan again. If anyone could shed light on the house's past, it was her. The elderly woman welcomed Emma into her cozy living room, her sharp eyes sparkling with curiosity. Back again, dear? What's on your mind? Emma explained everything, the notebook, Hopper's connection to the house, and the strange occurrences that had been happening ever since they moved in. MRS Callahan listened intently, her expression growing more serious with each word. I remember Hopper, she said finally. Quiet man, kept to himself. But there was always something off about him. He worked on your house for months, repairs, renovations, that sort of thing. After the family who lived there left, he started acting strange. People would see him lurking around the neighborhood, watching the house. No one knew why. MRS Callahan leaned back in her chair, her gaze distant. There was talk of something happening during his time there. Something he saw or did. But no one ever figured out what it was. The family never talked about it, and Hopper disappeared for a while after they moved out. Looks like he's back now. Emma's mind was with possibilities. Could Hopper's obsession stem from guilt, fear, or something more sinister? Whatever the reason, she knew one thing for certain: she had to protect her family. That night, Emma shared what she had learned with Mark. For once, he didn't try to dismiss her concerns. We need to be vigilant, he said. If Hopper comes back, you'll be ready. The family settled into a routine of heightened security, but the tension was palpable. Even Sophie and Liam seemed to sense the gravity of the situation. Their usual playfulness replaced with quiet caution. Through it all, Mittens remained a steadfast guardian. Her nightly furrows never wavering. One particularly stormy night, Emma was jolted awake by a sharp noise. A loud bang that seemed to come from the backyard. She sat up, her heart racing, and grabbed her phone to check the camera feeds. The screen showed the backyard, illuminated by the motion-activated floodlight. At first, everything seemed normal, but then she saw it, a figure moving along the edge of the fence. Mark, she whispered urgently, shaking him awake. He's back. Mark sprang out of bed, grabbing the baseball bat they had kept by the door ever since the first incident. Emma called the police as they crept toward the living room, where Mittens was already by the back door, growling fiercely. The cat's paw was puffed up, Her tail lashing back and forth as she stared out into the stormy night. The figure moved closer, stepping into the floodlight's beam. It was Hopper. His face was pale and gaunt. His eyes wild as he stared at the house. In his hands, he clutched something Emma couldn't make out. A small box, wrapped in what looked like old, weathered paper. Before Emma or Maok could react, the police arrived. Their flashing lights cutting through the darkness. Hopper dropped the box and bolted, disappearing into the shadows as the officers pursued him. One of the officers picked up the box and brought it inside, handing it to Emma. She stared at it, her hands trembling. Something about the box felt wrong, almost foreboding. As she unwrapped it, she found an old photograph inside. A black and white picture of the house, taken decades ago. In the foreground stood a family she didn't recognize. Their faces smiling but their eyes hollow. Scrolled across the bottom of the photo were the words, "It always watches." Emma's breast caught. What did it mean? What was Hopper trying to tell them? As she looked up, mittens let out a low, mournful yowl. Her eyes fixed on the photograph. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Whatever was happening, it wasn't over yet. And the answers they sought were buried in a past far darker than she had ever imagined. The following day, Emma couldn't shake the image of the photograph or the cryptic message scrolled across it. It always watches. The words echoed in her mind, heavy with meaning she couldn't yet grasp. Hopper was still at large, and the police had promised to keep a close watch on the neighborhood. But Emma felt a growing urgency to unravel the mystery of the house and its unsettling history. She decided to return to the library, hoping to find anything she might have overlooked. This time, she focused her search on old maps and property records. As she shifted through dusty files and yellowed documents, she stumbled upon something unexpected. A blueprint of the house from the 1950s, the year it was built. On the surface, it looked like any other blueprint. But as Emma examined it more closely, she noticed a detail that made her blood run cold. There was a room marked on the plans that didn't exist in the current layout of the house. The room was labeled simply as storage, located behind what was now the living room wall. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Had the room been sealed off? And if so, I? Determined to find out, she rushed home, blueprint in hand. Maok, she said breathlessly as she entered the house. I found something. There's a hidden room in the house. Maok looked up from the couch, his brow furrowing. A hidden room? Are you sure? Emma spread the blueprint out on the dining table, pointing to the labeled storage space. It's right here, behind the living room wall. I think it was sealed off at some point. Maok studied the blueprint, his skepticism giving way to intrigue. If it's there, we need to find it. But we should be careful. WHO knows what will uncover. The two of them moved the furniture in the living room to one side, clearing the space by the wall. Maok tapped along the surface, listening for hollow spots. After several minutes, he stopped. Here, he said, pressing his hand against the wall. It sounds empty behind this section. Armed with tools, Maok carefully cut into the drywall, creating an opening just large enough to pierce through. As the dust settled, Emma shone a flashlight into the darkness beyond. The beam illuminated a small, windowless room, its walls lined with shelves covered in cobwebs. The air was sick with the scent of damp wood and decay. Emma and Maok stepped inside cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the confined space. On the shelves of boxes, jars, and old notebooks, their contents obscured by layers of dust. In the center of the room stood a single wooden chair, its surface scratched and worn as if it had been used frequently. Emma's eyes fell on a stack of old photographs lying on one of the shelves. She picked them up carefully, flipping through the images. They were similar to the one Harper had left behind, black and white pictures of the house and its occupants. But these photos were more disturbing. In each one, the family members appeared increasingly haggard. Their smiles strained and their eyes filled with fear. In the final photo, they were no longer in the frame. Instead, the camera was pointed toward the living room window, and in the glass, a faint silhouette could be seen, a shadowy figure watching from outside. Mark examined one of the notebooks, his face pale as he read aloud. It watches us. Always watching. We can't escape. He flipped to another page. The children hear it at night. They say it whispers their names. Emma felt a cold knot of fear tightening in her chest. This is what Harper was obsessed with, she said. Whatever happened to that family, he must have been involved, or at least witnessed it. They continued to explore the room, finding more unsettling clues. One box contained small, personal items, a child's toy, a broken wristwatch, a woman's hairbrush, all carefully wrapped in tissue paper. It was as though someone had collected these items and hidden them away, preserving fragments of lives that had been disrupted or destroyed. Suddenly, Mittens appeared at the entrance to the hidden room, her fur bristling and her eyes glowing in the beam of the flashlight. She let out a low, guttural growl, her gaze fixed on the far corner of the room. Emma and Mark turned, their blood running cold as they noticed a faint outline etched into the wall, a circular symbol with jagged lines radiating from its center. What is that? Mark whispered, his voice barely audible. Emma shook her head, her heart pounding. I don't know, but it feels wrong. As they backed out of the room, Mittens remained at the entrance, her body tense and her growls unwavering. It was clear that the cat sensed something they couldn't see, something tied to the dark history of the house. Over the next few days, the Carters worked with the police to document everything they had found in the hidden room. The evidence painted a chilling picture of the house's past and its connection to Harper's obsession. But despite their efforts, many questions remained unanswered. What was the symbol on the wall? Why had the room been sealed off? And who or what had been watching the previous occupants? As the family tried to move on, Mittens continued her nightly funnels, her vigilance never wavering. Emma often found herself sitting by the front door, watching the cat and wondering if they would ever truly be free of the house's shadow. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Emma noticed something remarkable. Mittens was no longer growling or hissing at unseen threats. Instead, she sat calmly by the window, her green eyes watching the street with quiet confidence. It was as if the cat knew their battle had been won, or at least, that they were finally safe. For the first time in weeks, Emma felt a sense of peace. She knelt beside Mittens, scratching behind her ears. You've protected us, haven't you? She said softly. Whatever it was, kept it at bay. Mittens let out a contented purr, leaning into Emma's touch. The bandbit thumb had grown unshakable, forged in the face of fear and uncertainty. And as the Carters moved forward, they knew they would always be grateful for the cat who had stood watch, protecting them from a danger they could barely comprehend. The house still held its secrets, its past shrouded in mystery. But for now, the family was safe, and that was enough.